chant some of the previous names of Puja Gurudev and add one more time. Om Mahavakyopadeshakaya Namaha. Om Maharshaye Namaha. Om Madhurasvabhavaya Namaha. Om Manoharaya Namaha. Om Mahatmane Namaha. Om Medhavine Namaha. Om Yatatmane Namaha. Om Yajnakrite Namaha. Om Lokaprasiddhaya Namaha. Om Lokaprasiddhaya Namaha. Gurudev calls Lokaprasiddha. Nice name. Lokaprasiddha. Prasiddha means well known. Well known. And I told you in English words, when you say well known, that word doesn't have any depth, any real substance in the word, I tell you. When you say the word prasiddha, see, let me show you the evolution of the word. You have to get a feel of your language, you know. You have a great inheritance in this Sanskrit language. Siddha word means accomplished. Accomplished. So, a person who has been pursuing some great goal for a long time and he's become an adept, one who is really grounded in that thing, whatever he's been pursuing, anything, that will be worldly or spiritual. But he has become grounded in that thing. He's called a Siddha. And if he's grounded in spirituality, in the absolute, he's called a Siddha Purusha. Siddha. Prasiddha means not only his Siddhatvam has become part of him, but that thing has now spread all over the whole world. Means the whole world has come to know of his Siddhatva, yes. Prasiddha. When you say well known in English, what? any such meaning comes like that thing. See how very different. Prasiddha. That Siddhatva has become spread all over the whole world. Everybody has come to know. Means his Siddhatva is so grounded, so well taken root that the whole world has come to know that this man is a Siddha Purusha. Prasiddha. So Prasiddha. Loka Prasiddha. Loka means world. Whole world is known everywhere. And nowadays we are thinking that at least in the English speaking countries we should have this mission, because all the people in the mission speak English, right? Man, Gurudev went to French speaking, German speaking, Spanish speaking, Portuguese speaking, everywhere, yes. I think some people say, why you go to Venezuela? It is so close. Why you go? I can't talk Spanish. So I have some kind of barrier there, right? And he never thought of any barriers and all. He just went everywhere and known every part in this world. So Loka Prasiddha Namaha, like that. Okay, now we are seeing chapter 14. And we're coming down to the end of this chapter 14. 18, yes. Let's see now if we can wrap it up. Jaganya guna vrittisthaha adogachanti tamasaha. That's the last thing we saw, right? condition Bhagavan was talking about, I told you, that if a person dies in sattva, he goes up, means he evolves, he goes higher, to a higher state. If he dies in rajas, he has predominance of rajas in his mind when he dies. People die in all of these conditions. But the people who get an accident and all, they die in rajas only, because the adrenaline just floods their mind. When you see something coming, like another car or something coming to hit you or something, an accident, right? That last moment, and you die screaming. Rajas, like anything. And most people, I tell you, die in tamas. Most people die in tamas. They don't know also that they have. You can't know in any case, but I mean, they don't know anything around, slowly, state of unawareness, and one man died in his sleep. You see him dying in his sleep, that's a funny thing, because you wouldn't know about it until next morning. Dying tamas. And sattva is reserved for those great saints and sadhus and sadhakas who all their life is engaged in spirituality. They leave the body consciously. Tulsidaji tells so nicely. Bali, because he was seeing Ram, Bali was this great Abhimani, but because Rama was standing in front of him, Bali dropped the body so effortlessly, like a mala dropping from the neck of an elephant. Like nothing. So in total awareness. Rama Bali Nijadham Pathawa, Tulsidas ji, right? He died in such sattva that he went to Saket Lok. Urdhvam gachanti, that's what he was saying, na? Urdhvam gachanti sattvasthaha. If he's seeing Ram, that means sattva has to be there in his mind. Urdhvam gachanti, Saket Lok he went. Then, after finishing this topic about dying in whichever guna, that means what? By naturally, that means we are supposed to preserve the sattva guna at all time, promote that in the mind, inculcate that, imbibe that sattva guna, or foster and engender sattva guna. So now, I told you, Bhagavan will not just tell any of this all about his gunas and all that kind. That is not the goal of Bhagavad Gita. The goal of Bhagavad Gita is not to tell about gunas. The goal of Bhagavad Gita is to take the mind to Brahman. Right? So after telling about all of these gunas and all, now see. What a most wonderful way. He slips back into the real topic. I told you, don't lose the thread. Bhagavan doesn't lose the thread. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Nanyam Gunebhya Kartaram Yadanta Samhashyati. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Gunebhya kartaram. There's the whole lesson right there. Na anyam gunebhya kartaram means there is no other doer than the gunas. That means to say what he's going back to his original point. Atman, Paramatma, Brahma, the absolute reality is akartaram. We saw previously. He's not a doer. I told you, no, Bhagavan is not an active doer like we are doer. Well, like we are doer, we initiate things as an agent. Bhagavan doesn't initiate anything as any agent. Bhagavan's mere presence makes everything happen. So he says, then who is the doer? Because things are being done. He says, na anyam gunebhya kartaram. There is no other doer than the gunas. That's like, those people who studied engineering and all that kind of thing. You study and you go home and you go home today, open your fan and you back and you go see how the world working. They have a simple mechanism. You run a current through a coil with a magnet inside, then you get motion. Right? When the current is passing through the coil and there's a magnet present there, you get motion. So it means to say one thing in the presence of another thing causes motion. You have anybody directing anything there? You do this. You do that. You do that. Anybody here? No. This thing in the presence of this thing is just working. Like for example, how the earth spinning around the sun and all. In the presence of things around, things just work. And all the things in the world we say they're made up of the gunas. And for them to function, Bhagavan just has to be present there. While Bhagavan is present there, they do their thing, as we say. So the gunas are doing, Bhagavan just present there. So na anyam gunebhya kartaram. Gunebhya na anyam kartaram. Other than the gunas. Gunebhya means other than you see, in English language, right? There is what we call a preposition and this and that. In Sanskrit there is no preposition. See, other than the gunas. See, guna there is noun. All of these preposition other than the guna. The three preposition there in English language. In Sanskrit, none. How you get a preposition? You take guna and you twist a little bit. During years of guna and guna gunebhya. And that means now other than the gunas. So other than the gunas, na anyam kartaram. There is no other doer. The gunas themselves doing everything. Them working by themselves. In the presence of course, don't forget the presence of Bhagavan. Without the presence, nothing. Yeah. Nothing works. Yada drashta anupashyati. When the drashta means the sadhak. This is the important thing. When a true sadhak is able to sit very quietly and see this truth, this is why you call it drashta. Drashta means a seer. So when a sadhak is able to sit very quietly and see, oh, look how that flashy object there, the light of the sun fell on it, that flashy thing, the light reflected and came on my eyes. From my eyes it went to my brain. Brain interpreted and all, and the brain also elicited some response and all, and that whole process is happening only because there is a presence of consciousness. I am aware that this whole thing is going on. So that whole process is just seen by the sadhak. He knows that he is the absolute reality, the consciousness, who is just a sakshi of all of this. He says, yada, when that person is able to reach that stage and see that only, yada drashta anupashyati, when he sees like this and he understands things like this, that he really, the absolute, who in the presence of whom this whole process is going on, he says, gune bhyascha param veti mad bhavam saha adhigacchati. He knows that he is beyond the gunas, that he is transcended or way beyond the gunas. That time that person comes to my state, he merges with me. It means when that person is able to just sit very quietly and become a witness of the entire process transpiring among the gunas. Because for the light to fall there, from the sun, for the light to fall there and from the light to travel there, movement is rajas. and that has to be done in a specific way. See those rays and all, that is sattva, precision. And then he has to go and has to travel, all rajas, so the rajasic thing has to happen, and then goes to the brain for understanding, intellect for understanding. That is sattva. So all the gunas only, and then the intellect says, it's so nice. And then you start calculating, last time I had it was so good, I should have it again. In memory, chitta, everything comes into play. But the one who is able to see all of this very quietly is become uninvolved sakshi. Mad bhavan saha digacchati, said. That person comes to me, Bhagavan said. It was the most wonderful verse. Gunanetana titya trin dehi dehi samudbhavan janma mrityu jara dukkhehi mukto amritam ashnute. Transcending the three gunas like this dehi who has taken residence in this deha, that person, vimuktaha, he becomes free from what? Janma, mrityu, jara, dukkha. He becomes free from birth, death, old age and sorrow. This is the only thing we're afraid in this world. We are afraid nothing else. Some people are afraid all of them also. They are only afraid death. People don't think about old age and all. No, they're only thinking about when we go die. So anyway, the person becomes free, and then amritam ashnute. He drinks of, see that literally, immortality. I mean, he becomes immortal. No, Bhagavan just mentioned what? The one who is able to witness the machinations and the operations of the three gunas, and he is able to sit very quietly and know that he is not the guna, he is a witness of them. He sees them working. They are doing whatever they do. That person, he goes beyond these three gunas. Gunaetam atitya. He goes beyond these three gunas. Right? So he called gunatita. Gunatita means he has gone beyond three gunas. That atita word in Sanskrit means gone beyond. So it's dehatita, gone beyond the body. Gunatita, gone beyond the gunas. Kalatita. Kalatita means gone beyond time. Many times templatita, we've gone beyond the temple, past the temple and going up the road. We do that regularly. Templatita. So Bhagavan used that word. This person has gone beyond the three gunas and he has reached my madbhavam sahadi gacchati. He goes to my state. Now Arjuna asks a question. Prabhu, tell that person who has gone beyond that three gunas which we know, how does he live? The Arjuna has the same question in second chapter. Same question, different words. Now he's asking the same question again. But the only difference is that time it was out of curiosity. In second chapter it was out of curiosity. Here it is out of rasa. When you experience some rasa, you want to experience that thing again. So here he has full understanding, he's good Virat Rup Darshan and everything. So he wants to revel in hearing the glories of Mahatma. So there's a difference between there and here. To hear the glories of Mahatma and revel, that is a special type of anand. So this is the difference here. And so he asks Bhagavan, Arjuna Uvacha, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Hey Stri Namita Adito Prabhu Shri Krishna Sharanam Guna's words now. We just change up the words, but the bhav also is different. Kaihi lingaihi tringunan ativart. Tringunan etan atitah bhavati prabho. It means to say, Kaihi lingaihi, by which signs? As you see, the word linga is there. Shiva lingam, linga word coming here. Lingaihi, lingaha. Linga is plural, third case plural, so lingaihi. By which signs? Signs. Linga means sign, symbol. That is the literal meaning of the, well, two primary meaning of this word. Linga means a limb. Limb. So, either we take that meaning limb or any. All the limbs, we call it linga, any one of them. And linga also means a symbol or sign. So here it means a sign. Kaihi lingaihi, by which signs tringunan etan atitaha bhavati prabho. How, by which signs would we know one who has transcended the three gunas? How will we know? Well, this fellow, Raman transcended three gunas. In Trinidad, we like them kind of thing, eh? How we going to know? Well, this fellow, he gone beyond them three gunas. Kimachara. How does he conduct himself? Kimachara. Achara means conduct, behavior. Like, how does he behave and conduct himself? Katam cha etan tringunan ativartate. How does he transcend them, and how would we know that he has transcended them? By which conduct would we know that he has transcended these three gunas? This is Arjuna's question. And he said Kimachara. There, Sthita Prajna Lakshana, he asks same thing. How he walks, talks and laughs. Now Shri Bhagavan Vacha. The simple way to answer this, how would you know or realized? So, that is the simple question. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava. Shri Krishna cha prakasham cha pravrittim cha mohameva cha pandava na dveshti sampravrittani na nivrittani kankshati. My dear Arjuna, oh Pandava, he calls Arjuna as Pandava. If there is the presence of any one of these things, he doesn't desire or wish for any one of these things to be there or go away. This is Nakanshati means he has no desire for any one of these things. What? Prakasham, see. A realized soul will sleep or not? He'll sleep. He doesn't wake all night. He'll also sleep. Gurudev is asleep here. All Mahatmas will sleep. So that time there is tamas. Because for sleep to happen, tamas has to be there. And to be awake and give discourse, which he is doing his whole life, sattva and rajas have to be there. And he had a good mix. That is why he was so successful in the world, because he has a good mix of sattva and rajas. Rama, Krishna, rajas, they were born kshatriyas, na? The greatest avatar that we know. We study only Rama and Krishna. Who studies Vaman? Nobody studies Vaman and all, isn't it? Ram, Krishna. Gurudev was at that type. So, in life of Mahatmas, the gunas will be there. But see now, Prakasham, and there is Sattva guna. Just now we saw Prakasha upajayate, we saw that previously, right? When there is Sattva, light of awareness and consciousness beaming out through his face even. So when that Prakasha is there, cha pravrittim, and the Rajasan is engaged in so many activities. And Gurudev is to do all sorts of things. In the beginning, the early days, he used to sit down on a bicycle. I met our Swami Jyotirmayanji, who is in New Delhi. Swami Jyotirmayanji used to ride the bicycle. And in the back have a little tray. Gurudev used to sit down in that tray. Jyotirmayanji riding here, Gurudev sit down in the back there, and he had a pamphlet. And telling people, come on, here is Swami. When they go there, he is the same man sit down there. He starts sitting down there and talking. But this man give the pamphlet. All is a rajas, in the early days. Pravrittim. Rajas engage in activities. Cha, moham, tamas. So in his mind, there will be sattva, rajas and tamas. O Pandava. But nadveshti, he doesn't hate them and what is tamas doing in my mind? What is rajas doing in my mind? Nadveshti. Sampravittani. He doesn't hate them when they appear. Sampravittani. Then nalivrittani comes, and when they go away, he doesn't say, oh, why did Sattva come back? Who come, who go? Oh, he is Sakshi. He just witnessing. Now my mind is a state of tamas that are asleep here. Now my mind is in rajas. And he just say he is not a victim of sattva, rajas and tamas. He is a sakshi of sattva, rajas and tamas. This is the mark. Now how you go know the mark? Arjuna has a hard question, because the Upanishad say only the one who realize he alone go. When we watching from outside, let me tell you something. In this world, it's real easy to mix up. You see, rajas is clay. The middle one, rajas, he clay. It's real easy to mix up sattva and tamas. So you see that fella, he sit down there quiet. He say, wait, look sattva there. That time he's still sleeping, That's deep tamas, but you mix up that with sattva. Look how he's sitting so peaceful and quiet. And two real easy to mix up. So from outside, where you go know? So now, that hard to know if he is a witness of sattva, rajas and tamas. So that is what that verse is say. So but one realizes that real hard to learn. But I say that in the next way. So next one, Udasinavat Asinaha. He sits, Udasinavat. Udasinavat means he sits aloof. Aloof. He sits like one unconcerned about what is good. Now that also real hard. Because I have some people who are naturally oblivious of everything. Naturally, I mean, so much tamas. I tell you, I have three types of people in the world: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who are what happened. So that tamasic person, he know what happened himself. So this realized master, he sits udasinavat. Now see, what pratyaya at the end of that word is the most important. That what in Sanskrit. Look out for that what, not what. What. What it means is who sits like somebody unconcerned. That what means like. Like Iva and what pratyaya is the same meaning. Means he sits like somebody unconcerned. But you have to see a Mahatma like that. He sits like somebody unconcerned, but he is fully aware of everything. That is exactly what is there. Nothing passes his eyes. And if those of you who have met Gurudev, some people are sitting here who met him, you will know that nothing passes his eyes. Deveji told me a nice story. Professor Bhattacharya walking there and doing something. Hey, sit down. He'll tell. Let me tell you something. In India, you know, here, when we tile in this place, right? I see the ashram thing. When they don't tile, you have a whole van load of broken tiles, pieces. You don't know what to do with it. In India, they say, no, you know. They put mortar here on the ground, and they take every little piece and they stick it inside the mortar, and you make a next floor, some other place. Yeah. Every little piece they're using. I remember they doing that in the ashram. Gurudev committee stick. And he watched Jairam, he is the manager. He was the one who was supervising that. He telling Jairam, what day, watch. They could put some more pieces there. And he showed him with a stick. A long big thing that they put in this little piece of tile. So in his mind, he don't check out per square feet how many pieces they put in, and look like in this patch they put less. How many pieces they put in every square foot? They could put some more there. Little broken tiles, waste pieces. Nothing will pass his eyes, I tell you. And when we say nothing passes his eyes, we mean subtle things also. He will look on our face and we know. When we look at our face, we self don't know. One day, why I looking so to me? But when he looks on our face, he sees so many things, all our emotions, our thoughts, where our mind is, or everything. He sees. Nothing passes his eyes. So udasinavat asinaha, he looks as though he is unconcerned. Udasinavat, as he sits like that. Gunaihi yaha navichalyate, and by the gunas he is not in any way disturbed, perturbed, or shaken, or moved by the gunas. The gunas just do their stuff. So now see, just now we are talking about Guna Guneshu Vartante Iti. This we saw already on third chapter. Everything is happening by Guna just working with them. So in the presence of the reality. The reality is not a dua, it's a akarta. In the presence of that reality, like in the presence of the sun, the lotus opens. So in the very same way. Now, if the human being has brought his mind to that state to just watch the gunas do their thing, that means that the individual jiva, then he has receded into Brahman, because that's what Brahman does. Brahman just is the uninvolved sakshi of the whole play of the gunas. So if this gunatita, if he is doing that, that means he has merged into Brahman, because he is just watching the gunas do their thing, do their stuff. Like all of you now sitting there watching me. You are not doing any, you are not talking. I am the one who is. So you are Brahman, I am Prakriti. I am gunas. You are Brahman there, see, quiet. So he is not moved by this guna. Let the gunas do whatever they want. Sometimes people get moved when I bawl. Most time people are not moved. Guna vartante iti evam yo avatishthati naingate. Naingate, we saw this word way down in the second chapter. Naingate sopama smrita. This word comes only 2 times in Bhagavad Gita. Inga means to. You know, when a flame is there and a little breeze blow, how do flame must go? That's called ingate. Sounds good, nice, eh? What is the English word for that? Flicker. Is that English word? Flickers. In Sanskrit, ingate. So, na ingate. Na ingate means nothing shakes him. Keep your calm. Keep your cool. I tell you, be case. We need wilting, brother. Any wilting, ingate. Let me tell you something. If I just give you a simple example, you come and you see a chocolate melt because you live it in the sun or you live in some hot place and your chocolate melt when you ingate, you melt. What all melting I tell you, see, you melt that time. How easily we get shaken. But this guna vartante iti evam yaha avatishta. When the gunas are doing their stuff, and no matter what gunas come from which side and bashes him, guruna api vicharite, we saw this in 6th chapter. You know, the heaviest sorrow caused by the gunas comes down on him like an avalanche, and he udasinavat, sits there as though unconcerned. Naingate, doesn't get moved by this thing. Sukha sukha swasthaha. Swasthaha means he stays in his own self. He stays in Brahman and he remains same, sama in dukkha and sukha. Sukha dukkha. Sama dukkha sukham. Sukha swasthaha. Staying in his own self, unmoved by any joy or sorrow, which I told you we just saw that in 6th chapter we saw that. Samaloshtasma kanchanaha. He sees sameness in loshta, ashma and kanchana. Loshta means metal. Ashma means clay, clod of dirt or something. And kanchana means gold. So he piece of gold, piece of clay, piece of metal, all same. one Mahatma sit down by Ganga like this. Gunatita, udasinavat. So one of his disciples, who was a jeweler, used to come to get darshan every time. That disciple used to travel all over the world and used to collect rare gems. So once he traveled to some far place in Turkey, may I just say, and he collected 2 pearls, rare pearls, and he thought, oh, these pearls remind me of my guru in Varanasi. I shall take it to him. So he took these 2 pearls to his guru in Varanasi, who was sitting in Varanasi there at the Ganga Par. So, oh Guruji, in my travels I have found the 2 rarest of pearls. I have brought them for you. They reminded me of you only. I think you should have it. And you know, he handed the Guru these 2 pearls. While the Guru was trying to take it from him, the Guru clumsy, way he know about pearls and you know. One of the pearl fall in Ganga now. Rarest of pearl. The Guru say, oh, bichara, chala gaya. Just, you know, easy, like nothing. Well, one gone. One gone. This merchant, this jeweler, He was Guruji, he gone. No, Guruji, Udasinavati. But this fella, Ingate. He was so shaken by this thing. So he dived down into the Ganga immediately. There to come up, take breath, gone down, come up, take breath, gone down. After about 5-10 times, Guruji, I can't find it. He let his life coming out now. I can't find it. Tell me exactly where it fell. The Guru take the next one. He said, right there. It fell right there. Look, see this one gone. Samaloshtashma kanchanaha. Piece of metal, piece of clod of earth, piece of gold, all same. Because it is made up of the gunas, right? And he is guna theta. Gone beyond gunas and all. Tulya priyapiyo dhiraha tulya nindar nastam stutihi. But all departments of his life, all aspects of life, he's tulya. Tulya means, I told you this word before, we saw. It came. This would have been the 12th chapter. Tulya nindar stutir mauni. In 12th chapter. You go home every day and practice chanting, or all these verses will stay in your head. I think some people like to be crackpot. Now I'm telling you about crackpot. When you put something inside the crackpot, all leak out. Yeah. So this same verse, I'm saying word comes tulya. Tulya word means, see, tul in Sanskrit means to weigh. So tulna. When you come down the highway there in that place in Makole, in the junction, when you go inside, it's called Baji Tola. Baji Tola. You want to ask them people in Makole. Anybody from Makole here? Baji Tola. Baji is one of our place name. So, anybody know that place? Or you went from this side? Maybe they to wear Baji there. Baji Tola. So anyway, that's so. Scale, you know, that is the other word for scale in English is a balance. A scale is a balance. So that's how the word comes here. Tulya, to remain balanced. That's the same as sama. This is the other synonym for sama. These two words in Bhagavad Gita. Tulya, sama, balance. In what? Priya and apriya. Priya means something pleasant, loving, you know, something nice. When you see a nice teddy bear, cuddly, cute, soft. Priya. Apriya? A frog. Right in front of your door. When you go there. That too. You know what happened to a frog? When he park in the wrong place, he will get towed. Now, apriya, who likes, some people who like frog also, eh? There's some people who like frog and all. But I'm talking about the average Trinidadian. He doesn't like frog. That is, and mostly women. Oh, bapre. When they see frog, they start hopping. So, apriya. When you see something that people don't like, and make your blood. Yeah. One day I saw some picture somebody posted on social media. They buy some bread or cake or something, and there was some lizard embedded in it. A bread or something. So somebody see it? There's a lizard embedded in the bread. Baked in the bread. Apriya. Now you get the meaning of apriya. So priya and apriya. Is that tulya? Tulya and priya and apriya. We same. Same. Dhiraha, why that wise man is Tulya, and again Tulya, no, next phrase. Tulya Nindat Stutihi. Some Stutihi. Ninda means you bad talk him. Some Stutihi means you well praise him. Some Stutihi. Samyak Stutihi. Not only that, you profusely praise him. So it's again Tulya. Because you know when you're praising him now, next day again blows. I know, you ask me. I have met plenty of people in front of my face. Real nice they talk. So मीठा मीठा. कितनी मीठी बात. हनी की तरह, मधुर की तरह. और पेट के पीछे किरपान दागा. Yeah. So he says, Bhagavan says that Gunatita is Tulya. Tulya. Same whether you praise or you Ninda means you do all bad. Bhagavan Shankaracharya writes about this in Bhaja Govindam. That yogi, the true realized soul, Yogarato Vasi, his verse, it's very famous. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Muramate. So the same sort of things are going on here, whether he's on this side, whether he's on, that's what it means, whether there is tamas, rajas, sattva, whether there is ninda, whether there is stuti, whether there is priya, whether there is apriya, he tulya. So there also Bhagavan Shankaracharya is telling same thing. Yogaratova, whether he's in yoga, bhogaratova, when he's enjoying some food or something, he's doing yoga here, he's meditating, or he's enjoying some food, eating some food. Sangaratova, he's in the presence of somebody. Sangavihina, nobody there, he alone there. So whether he's present of people or absent of people, Nandati, he's traveling in Brahman only. This they are all same. Same type of topic which is going on here. See? Tulyanandastutir mauni. Manapamana yos tulyaha. Tulyo priyaripak. Tulyo mitraripakshayoho. Sarvaramba parityagi gunatita sa uchyate. He says, he is called as Gunatita. He is the one who has transcended all the gunas. Who in Mana Apamanayoho Tulyaha. Mana means respect and disrespect. Just now we talked Ninda and Samstuti. Means the praise, blame, censure or praise. Here now, respect and disrespect. Somebody call you a real nice sadhu Babaji. Somebody call you a congenital fool. Not only any kind of ordinary fool. He's a samyak fool. No, see that is disrespect, and this one is, oh, you're such a nice sattvic sadhu Babaji. You give you so much respect, man. You will prostrate and think. Come do Pancha Upachar, Arti Chandan Mala Ityadi. The respect you call. Man. Apaman is the reverse of that. You've got to sit down, you pull your chair. Mana Apamana Yoho Tulya. He is Tulya. See the same word coming again. This Tulya word comes here several times. Mana Apamana is Tulya. Tulya. Mitrari Pakshayoho. Mitra and Ari. He is same towards friend and enemy. Mahatmas, realized souls, like this which is being spoken about here, right? They really have no sides. I don't belong to this country or that country, this race or that race, this nationality or that nationality. He belongs to the entire universe. So he's Tulya. So where is their friend and enemy? See, the nation may have an enemy. This is the enemy of the nation, right? But for a Mahatma who lives in that nation, he has no enemy. He's gone beyond all of this. We are the ones who have this side and this side. This is my friend. That fellow is a sworn enemy. Sworn, we say. I don't know how the English phrase was. Where I mean, where's sworn enemy now? Somebody swear something there. So, no. Tulyaha mitra aripakshayoho. No, the pakshayoho, what is nice. See how we act. Suppose this fellow is my friend and this fellow is my enemy, right? In our ordinary life. And I have one cake. Little cake, not big cake. I have a little cake here, right? And my enemy hungry. He hungry, eat nothing for the last 4 days. And my friend just eat. We live like this. Because he is my enemy, me I give him no cake, he dead. Just because he is my enemy. And my friend who just eat, I give him eat dessert now. That's how we live. So Paksha means this side and this side. He doesn't think about this is my friend's side, I should give the cake on this side. This is my enemy side, I should not give the cake. That will be taking Paksha. Paksha means taking one side. Doesn't take side. That's something you have to learn, I learned that the hard way, I think. Especially when your wife and husband come by me. Really? Please don't take any side. Learn the hard way. Next time, he comes and says some other thing about she. Then she comes and says some other thing about he. So when he's telling me about she, I say, but you're right. Then she comes, but you right? Both sides right. And next thing I know, both of them gone back together and I like a fool now. Yeah, I become the enemy there now. Tulya mitra pakshayoho. Stay clear of all of these sides and all. He's clear of all of these sides. Tulya mitra pakshayoho. Sarvarambha parityagi gunatita saucha. He called as gunatita, who has mentally, Sarva karma, I'm sorry, this verse. Way back in 4th chapter. Sarva karmani manasa sanyasya dhyatma chetasa. Mentally, he has renounced all karmas, or the doership of all karmas. He knows, that's why we just saw that the gunas are doing. So sarvarambha parityagi, he renounced all doership or agency with regard to karmas. He knows that all karmas are arambha, means karma. Arambha in Sanskrit means Arab, to begin, to start, to initiate. So Arambha means anything to which you initiate. That means a karma. That's what the words are common. The words all come. So all karma, any Arambha, Sarvarambha parityagi, renounced doership. I am not doing. Gunas are doing. Guneshu vartante. He is called as Gunatita. And there are 2 verses left in this chapter. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Shri Krishna chayo avyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate. Such a nice line it is. He who worships me with avyabhichara bhakti. Avyabhichara means unflinching bhakti. Such a nice word is. Unshakable bhakti. He who worships me with unflinching devotion, sagunan samatityaitan brahmabhuyaya kalpate. It means to say that he has pulled his mind from all the workings of the gunas and all, and he is devoted only to that akartaram paramatma. He is devoted only to the self. That person is said sagunan samatityaitan. He has transcended the three gunas and brahmabhuyaya kalpate. He has become fit for the state of Brahman, the absolute reality. Brahmabhuyaya kalpate. So what? He has to be solely devoted only to Paramatma, not to the gunas and all their. Sevate word is given. Sevate means he is concerned only with the self, Paramatma. He becomes fit. It means we are concerned with the workings of gunas. Whatever things we are seeing in this world, we are calculating and planning and see all sorts of things going on in our mind. How we, maneuver ourselves between in and amongst the gunas and all that, and how we'll do this and what we'll do and how we'll respond, and all that, all of it has to do with only the gunas. In all of that, there is no such thought as Brahman, God, and all, nothing. We only calculating the next step, the next move outside. Totally swept away, washed away by gunas only. But he who is devoted solely to the self, Mam, Paramatma. Brahmanaha hi pratisthaham amritasya avyayasya cha. That I am, but now Bhagavan makes a equation with the same mam which he used just now in the previous, me, Krishna. He says, I am established in that Brahman, Lord Krishna. It means to say, just now he would have been speaking about Brahman in the whole chapter. Brahma bhuyaya kalpate becomes fit for the state of Brahma, but then he uses the word Ma. I am that Brahman. Brahmanaha hi pratisthaham amritasya avyayasya cha. I am established in that supreme state of Brahman, which is deathless and all. Shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhay kasya ekanti kasya cha. And one who is the one absolute reality, I am established in. He who establishes himself in me becomes established in that reality. So it thus ends chapter 14. He says, Om Tat Saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturdashodhyayaha. This is called as Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. It is the yoga of the distinction of the three gunas. How does yoga? It means you merge with yourself by seeing the gunas doing their work and not being identified with them. And just body, mind, intellect, all gunas are working only. So you quietly watch how today my mind is disturbed, it's going here and there, I'm spaced out. So you just watch it. Let it be. Some days it will be like that. Some days it will be. But don't get too worked up by it, This is what happens. This is life. Watch it only. So the one who is able to do that, he will merge with himself. The yoga. So it is the yoga of the delineation of the three gunas. That is the idea. Chapter 14. Chaturdashodhyayaha. Samaptaha. Comes to an end.